If your seller is stuck on their price, brushing off feedback, or waiting for the market to bend to them, you're not alone. Strong listing, clean launch, then radio silence. That uneasy sense of losing altitude. You brought it to market the right way, and now the slowdown has the seller quietly wondering if you missed something. But this isn't about blame. This is about seller psychology. Because sellers aren't resisting out of stubbornness. They're reacting out of three predictable forces that show up under this kind of stress: control, loss aversion, and dignity. First, control. Your seller fought for that original price. They selected it. They believed in it. That number felt right. Changing it now feels like giving up control. Second, loss aversion. People react more strongly to losing money than to making it. To a seller, a price drop feels like cash disappearing, while the promise of fresh buyer activity feels fuzzy and far off. The loss is real, the gain is hypothetical. Their reluctance isn't attitude, it's human nature. Third, dignity. Nobody wants to feel wrong, not in front of their agent, their spouse, their neighbors, or themselves. A price change can feel like an admission of misjudgment, and that hit to the ego can stop anybody in their tracks. Once you understand these three forces, the seller's behavior stops feeling difficult and starts feeling predictable. They aren't sabotaging the listing, they're protecting their control, their money, and their pride. Here's what matters. You can't drag a seller out of that mindset. Push them and they push back harder. But give them a path that feels safe and keeps their dignity intact, and they'll walk it on their own. And that's exactly why the listing refresh inspection exists. It's neutral, it lowers defensiveness, and it shifts the conversation without triggering a fight. This isn't the pre-listing inspection you wish had happened months ago. That ship has sailed. This is the reset, the move that breaks the stalemate and gives the seller a safe way to reassess the listing without feeling cornered. Some agents jokingly refer to it as the listing rescue inspection because, let's be honest, a few listings out there are treading water, but the job is the same, to give you credible data and a clean reason to restart that pricing discussion. With objective findings on the table, the seller isn't reacting to your opinion anymore, they're responding to neutral information, and that keeps the conversation grounded instead of emotional. So when you sit down with your seller after a listing refresh inspection, you're not saying, we need to lower the price because nobody's biting. You're saying, we brought in a third-party inspection, here's what it shows, let's decide what makes sense to address, what to disclose, and how to reposition the listing so that buyers see its value. Use the findings however they fit the strategy, share what helps, keep what doesn't. The value isn't in the paperwork, it's the clarity it gives you, and that clarity matters. The report shows sellers exactly what buyers will react to, which lowers their uncertainty, and that actually reduces stress. This is where calibrated questions do the work. They enlist the seller as the problem solver. You're leaning on their intelligence and instincts, which gives them ownership of the outcome. Avoid why questions. They always sound accusatory. Whether you're talking to your kids or your clients, starting a sentence with why raises defenses. Lean into how questions. For example, how would you like buyers to respond when they see these findings? How do you think these findings will shape a buyer's expectations? Or, how do you think we should adjust our approach now that we have this information? As you review the report and ask your questions, keep your tone steady and let the silence do its job. Listen for the shift, those lines that show that they are absorbing the information rather than resisting it. You might hear, I never thought of it that way. That makes sense. Or best of all, that's right. That's your signal that the seller is now moving in your direction. As the saying goes, the easiest way to ride a horse is in the direction it's already going. Now, cost. Most sellers won't pay for it. Don't waste the political capital asking. They're attached to the number they chose, and nobody volunteers to pay for information that might undercut their own position. That's not resistance, that's human nature. That's fine. You're the professional, you cover it, just like photos, marketing, or staging. You're not buying a report, you're adding a specialist to your team. You're strengthening your position and you're saying, I brought in my inspector to help us get clarity. The listing refresh inspection gives you solid ground with your seller, with buyers, and with your reputation. It resets expectations without damaging trust. You get a clear snapshot of the home as it stands today, prioritized with findings that separate cosmetic from critical, and a framework for what to disclose, what to fix, and what to price around. If it's fixable, fix it. If it's explainable, explain it. If it's neither, price it. Buyers can sense when something's off. Transparency is the flex. Clarity earns trust and pulls in buyers who are actually ready to move. The report doesn't create problems, it surfaces what buyers will discover anyway, but it puts you in control of the story. The listing refresh inspection clears landmines before anyone steps on them. Anything uncovered now is just one less headache later when emotions are high and leverage is low. Use it however it fits, as a marketing tool, as a prepackaged relaunch, or as a neutral way to reset the conversation so you can tell the truth again. At its core, the listing refresh inspection brings back the one thing that actually gets a stuck seller moving: undeniable reality. It lets them save face while the facts do the heavy lifting. So if your listing's gone quiet, don't panic. Run the inspection, it cuts through the noise and gets the seller out of their own way.